All right. Well, let's just start this out with a typical question. All right. And I'm sure you've been asked this before. Why did you start doing this? What is there one really specific thing that happened to you, or was it a bunch of them together and then one that hit it to made you go get started?
I'd say it was. I say there was one major thing that made me start looking into what was wrong overall, and that was when police came to my house in October 2014 and pointed guns at me and had me down on my hands and knees on my own property because somebody had made a call. And
that drives me nuts. They think that, and the courts have let it happen. Somebody makes a damn call, whether it's a good call or a bad call, they don't care. They come to your house and they do whatever the hell they want. Mm-hmm. And that just tears me up. It makes me want to get the blood pressure medicine out.
Yeah. And you know, at the time too, I actually had it recorded on my security cameras, and I wish I had kept that footage, but I never even went and backed it up because I didn't consider that a crime had been committed on my property that day. You know, if anytime there was a crime committed here, I would save the footage and I would back it up. And when that happened, I didn't think of it as a crime. I thought of it as, oh, the police are just doing their job. And I just happened to end up on the bad end of the stick that day, even though I didn't do anything wrong.
So that you were raised that way to just accept the things that we were. Yeah. And I was, but I didn't. I mean, I started in high school not accepting it. And I don't know where that came from, because my dad was in law enforcement in the military, and throughout his career, you know, he always told me, if a cop pulls you over, just do whatever he says and fight it in court. Well, God damn it. No, the best place to start court is on the street with a camera. So that was the one that really got you thinking, or is that the one that pushed you over the edge?
That really just got me thinking, and nothing else really happened to me personally that pushed me over the edge. And again, that's not even that big of a deal, especially compared to what's going on, what's happening to so many other people. That just got me thinking and got me looking into.
Where did you start looking? Did you start looking on YouTube or in the news, or a combination of stuff?
I'd say more on YouTube, because I quit watching the news probably 2 or 3 years before that. You know, I knew that things were wrong. I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was that was wrong. And so I didn't just start looking on YouTube, though. I started reading books. I started looking at different, philosophical ideas and different ideas of government. And I started reading the Constitution. And I had heard of the Constitution in high school. I'm pretty sure we read it in high school, but I honestly didn't remember anything about it. It certainly didn't make any effect on me in high school as far as really understanding what it was, what it meant. And so more than looking into police brutality, I started looking into what's law and order, and what's it supposed to be, and what do we have today, as opposed to what was it intended to be built before. And combining that with watching videos of what our law enforcement is doing today, it was about at least 2 to 4 year process of just reading and soaking in knowledge, and trying to have an unbiased. I did actually. I wasn't trying to have an unbiased opinion. I did have if anything, my bias was in favor of the police when I started doing this. When I started looking into everything, my bias was in their favor. But the facts and evidence continually pushed me to the other side.
Yeah. Well, that's where we differ. That's one of the things we differ on. Mine started, and maybe it might even been started because of a class we had in high school. And it was, I think they called it civics, not my school, but some schools, I think they just call it government. Mm-hmm. But it was more about the Constitution and how the courts work, and how Congress and Senate and all that work. And we would actually take cases and go through them, or pass a law and have debates and stuff. And I love that. One of the few classes I did real well in.
Yeah.
But I love that. And that may have been where my doubts about things started in high school. But I
wouldn't have been good at that, because I would have passed laws that oppressed my neighbors. I understood democracy, but I didn't understand a republic. And so I would have said, well, hey, the majority says you get crapped on. So that's the way it is.
I was raised on the reruns, the shows that were on when I was a kid, and the reruns were of like 1 Adam 12, Dragnet, old Westerns. And even though they showed the good guys most of the time were always winning, they actually showed that the police, the sheriffs could be corrupt, the judges, all that. They showed that. And but there's one place that I remember, and it was 1 Adam 12, and this is back when things were starting. This was back during the days of the Vietnam protest, peace movement, and all that. All right, and 1 Adam 12 was very popular, and they pulled up to a guy that looked like he was having trouble on the side of the road. All right, so they assisted him a little bit or whatever, and then let him go, or let them go. And it turns out later they find out there was 2 bad guys. I don't know if it was bank robbers or whatever. But even back then, the TVs were starting to turn towards believe in the cops, trust the cops, let them do whatever they need to do to protect us. It was already starting back then. I saw it back then. And I doubt if the first time I saw it, it clicked. But the second time I saw it, it goes, that's where they're going with this. They want us to, because I was already seeing it all over the place. And they were fighting back from the peace movement, I believe, because the cops were getting a bad rep because of how they were treating the protesters. So now the TVs come in and they start making shows to try to counter and say, oh, they're the good guys, And of course, all the shows where the cops are, Mr. Tough Guy, and they're out there banging and swinging and beating up the bad guys. They always make sure that the bad guys that they're treating like shit, you already knew they were the bad guy and deserved to be treated like shit. Right. They didn't show them beating up the innocent guy that didn't have nothing to do with it. Or,
Yeah.
Just like some of the shows now,
distorted our view of who's the bad guy and the good guy. And I don't know, for me, especially, I mean, I grew up right-wing as a young adult, definitely right-wing Republican.
Yeah.
And man, we are all about punishing the bad guy, putting the hurt on him. And it's just the mentality of, we got to hurt these people who are bad.
Well, even with all that, for years, I believed in the death penalty. All right. And I can't say that I don't for certain things, but I don't trust the courts to convict somebody that's not innocent. And I don't trust them not to do it on purpose.
Yeah.
And I don't trust them to even bother to check and see if the cop was lying or not.
Right.
Because we see that all the time. In fact, I think Jack and I are going to do a video on how, like, when you're arrested, the magistrate, how they'd handle that. I think Jack and I are going to do something there because I think there's a big misunderstanding about how things work there. But we'll do that another time because Jack really is. I mean, he was a cop. He's been through it on both sides many, many times. He understands it, and I trust him to be honest about it. So anyway, it's another video in the near future, hopefully. So I remember the first time you came on to my Zoom call. All right. And there was a bunch of us on that night.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what we all talked about. We had a good time though.
Yeah.
Had you been out doing videos yet at that time?
Not really. At that time, I think I had gone out with the intent. No, I'm sorry. I'd never actually gone out with the intent to do a video, but I had done 2 videos that had been uploaded to YouTube. One was from, I think, a year or 2 prior, which was just a traffic stop that lasted about 3 minutes long that I recorded. And then I had put up my very first Border Patrol checkpoint refusal video at that point. And I believe you had already shared it on your channel, I think.
I was thinking so, but I couldn't remember what video it was, but I was thinking that you came on that night because you knew who I was because I know who you were.
Yeah.
Type deal. I posted your video,
Yep. But nobody else in the whole world knew who I was.
Another one discovered by me.
Yep. and shared.
Well, it's been fun finding those new people and sharing them with everybody else. I feel, I guess, honored that people enjoy what I do and been trying to do, even though I haven't been on the streets lately. And I keep wanting to get back out there. I wanted to go today, but I just didn't make it. So maybe tomorrow. But well, I was out not too long ago, but I need to get back out and do more regular things. Plus, I got to get more of my own stuff out there because I mean, my wife's feeling better now. I don't have to worry about her so much, and it's been eating at me to get out there. And I'm going to have to go out there. I think maybe with somebody to hold me back because I got a bit of anger issues. You know, I'm afraid I might go a little overboard, so I have to be careful with that.
Yeah, I gotta reset myself all the time. My family helps keep me grounded too, but I have to constantly reset because, you know, I actually think the cops, most cops, I don't even know most. I think a lot of cops didn't start out as bad cops. I think that a lot of them may have even as a kid grown up and thought, oh, I want to be a cop because I want to help people. My son used to say that.
Yeah.
And at some point, you know, the hero becomes the villain, right? And we all have that ability if we don't consistently check ourselves, I think. Any one of us can become the tyrant.
Yeah, I think given the right circumstances and the right amount of anger behind it, you can do some pretty stupid things. We've seen it throughout history. What the people have done to each other when they consider you the enemy and that you've done major damage to them or their families or something, you know.
Yeah.
So we all, in fact, I watch, especially the new people, and you can tell when they're out there because they've been done wrong badly.
Yeah.
They're mad. They're pissed. Yeah. What got them out there in the first place? And I think being upset is what gets most of us gets most of us out there in the first place. But some of them go out because they have really been through the ringer and they're pissed. And their first videos show that. But if they keep going, I've noticed many of them start to calm down.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are still kind of out there raising hell and cussing and yelling, and you can see the level drop a little bit in them. But, you know, for some people, that's just who they are. And that's why you never hear me say, you can't do it that way. That's wrong. I don't like it personally when they do that, when they go out and just be raising hell and cussing and screaming. But I understand it, and that's their thing, you know.
I kind of like it. I won't do it myself, but I love it when people do it.
Well, you know, I got to be honest. It kind of gets, I kind of go, they deserve that. But I mean, I don't like it in the aspect of me, and this is what I'm trying to do. I want public opinion on our side.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help with public opinion. But I cannot say that it doesn't touch me someplace.
Deep inside.
That SOB just got his butt told off. You know, I like it. I can't argue that point. Hopefully I clarified that for y'all, what I mean there. That's not my way of doing things either. I mean, I don't normally get too heated unless somebody just really pushes me too far. But watching all these videos and finding I watch a bunch of videos while I'm trying to find new people. And I mean, I can't stand seeing other people violated like that. I've always been like that. That's part of who I've been for so long that it's just there. And it pisses me off when you mess with me and my family. It just gets me. But when they screw with you or Pat or David or Jack or any of them, I get mad, Mad might not even be the right thing, but it gets to me. It upsets me.
Yeah. Just yesterday, I was doing a video that I was just editing to upload, and I was listening to myself and going, holy smokes. I was mad. I was mad. And usually I don't get like that. But again, these guys had cited a guy, had given a guy $160 ticket for giving away food to people in a poor neighborhood.
Yes.
And when I called ahead and I told them I was coming, and they said, great, we're looking forward to you coming out here. I said, okay, I'll be out there in a few hours. I'll be there this afternoon. I get out there, they're closed for lunch. Cool, that's fine. I come back after lunch and they shut down the whole building for the day because we're there. And then the chief says, well, you could have made an appointment with me. And I just snapped. I said, I made a damn appointment with you. Yelled at her officer. And I went back and listened to that and realized how pissed off I was. And like you said, it's not, you don't get as mad when they mess with you. You know, you feel like, you know what, I'm fine. I'll take care of myself. I'm a big boy. It's more when they start messing with other people, and especially those who are already kind of downtrodden, you know?
Yeah. And that you know, it's still bad either way. But when somebody, I know that they can't protect themselves, I'm not going to go through the whole story, but there's a buddy of mine who is, for lack of a better word right now, he's a little slow. All right. And he can get upset, not mad upset, but confused upset, not be able to think properly when he's upset. Hysteria, not a hysteria, but, you know, it kind of ended up in that direction. He's hard to describe, but he got accused of doing something he didn't do. And I almost am sure he didn't do it. They got him to the police department. They intimidated him. They scared him. And he finally just said, oh, you know, if you just sign this, we'll get this will all be go away. Everything will be cool. Well, no, he ended up, you know, trashed because of that, his life.
Wow.
And that pissed me off. And a friend of the family who was a cop was part of it. And I had always thought he was a pretty cool cop until that day. And then from then on, no. And throughout time, we're going to go back to the little topic where we were talking about cops. A lot of cops probably don't start being tyrants. All right. They don't start that way.
I like to hope so.
My experience, and just my experience with the ones that I know, but about 3/4 of the ones I know, and I'll say that's around 10, 12, all right, that I grew up with and have known for a long time, around half of them got in for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
One was a bully, judgmental piece of dirt from the day I met him in high school.
Yeah.
Right? And he got into the police force and he started beating up on people. And I had an ex-girlfriend that worked for that department, and she was telling me what was going on. And this was Universal City, folks, back then. Universal City's been pretty cool lately, even though I still have some doubts about one or two of them. But I haven't been able to get them, that one or two, to have any interaction with me. But I'll keep working on it. And we'll see how they do. I think with Universal City, the light that's been on them, I think anybody with a camera, no matter how bad that cop is, that cop's going to be okay on that camera. I think they've been doing fine. They've got a lot of attention, and they know who we are, and every damn one of them knows if somebody comes up with a camera, you better be nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, that may be a total waste of time, but I think a lot of them actually start with the wrong reasons. One of my best friends became a cop, and I know he did it for the wrong reasons. He wanted the excitement. He wanted to bully people.
Yeah.
He didn't want to have to work hard.
Right.
And the first month he was there, he said, remember that so-and-so from high school that was always bullying people? I whooped his ass the other day. I pulled him over and I whooped his ass. Like, he may have deserved it. I don't know. I mean, from his history, I can see where he deserved it. But your way you're telling me, you pulled him over and whooped his ass, and you didn't give me any explanation if he tried to pull anything on you or nothing. It makes me think twice about and actually knowing him in the first place. And but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be a cop for a little while because I wanted a cushy job that would be super easy. Well, I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it that seriously, but it kind of crossed my mind. Hey, if I feel like not doing much, that's the job that I would take.
Yeah, and most of the time you're not doing it, but driving around and talking to people and writing tickets, and you're never really working unless you want to have to run somebody down. And these days, they don't really hardly run anybody down.
Yeah.
Especially how many of these videos we see, they're so big they couldn't run.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they ran a block, they'd probably die of a heart attack. And
right.
I'm fat, but at least I'm not a cop having to, you know, armed and a trained hired killer, you know.
Well, that's why you shoot people in the back, because you're too fat to run when you're a cop.
Yeah.
That's why they shoot people in the back.
Yeah. I was in danger. He was running away from me.
I could have had a heart attack if I chased him. So therefore, my life was in danger, so I killed him.
Yeah. And we've seen videos. How many videos have we seen where they're running away from him, not armed, running away, get shot in the back?
Yep.
Ridiculous. Anyway, that's where we were talking about, I think, before we started the recording, where you like talking to people that see things differently than you. And
yeah.
So I want to touch on one. And it's not really that we see things differently, because I understand where you and Bao and them are at, because I was there 8-10 years ago, but I gave up on it because it wasn't doing any good. I felt like wasn't the time. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the time now, but when you go to court or you get pulled over and you say, well, I don't have to have a driver's license. You know, I'm not a commercial driver, and the driver is commercial and all that. And you know, the topics from there, how you go into court and the different kind of flags and all this, you know, and what they mean. I was there 6, 8, 10 years ago. That's where I was mostly there, between those 4 years. Right. And I gave up on it. Are you still pursuing that? Or are you thinking the same thing that it's not the right time? Or, you know,
all I really use that stuff for now is I don't know if I even want to say publicly why I use it, but I don't believe that it will. You're not going to win with it. I don't believe. Right. And it really, is there a win in our system? No, there's not. We all know that.
Right.
But
even when you go to court and you beat them in court, they're probably not going to get fired. They're probably not going to do any jail time. They're probably not going to pay any price for it at all.
Right. But using that, you're not likely to beat them in court either.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go ahead and tell you kind of what I like to use it for. They waste a lot of our time with a lot of BS and nonsense. And it really is BS and nonsense. Now, what these guys like Bao are doing, I believe it to be totally legitimate. They're totally right. Essentially what they're saying is the guy with the biggest gun or the biggest stick makes the rules. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's about it. That your system isn't necessarily legitimate. It's just that you're willing to threaten my life to have your way forced on me. And I'm not necessarily willing to threaten your life. Therefore, your rules go.
You have thousands of armed people supporting you, and I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's right. He's absolutely right. But is that going to win in their system and their court of law? Not likely. You might get a jury that'll find you not guilty. I have seen it happen, actually, with people using that system. But it's very unlikely. And it is hard to reach people using that idea.
I've seen judges that go, you know, you're wrong, but I'm not going to waste the taxpayers' money for a freaking $50 ticket. Forget it. It's over with. Get out of here. Case dismissed. You know.
Right. And that's the kind of place where I would prefer to use it, is on a ticket. And why? Because you're going to waste. They're trying to steal your money in the first place. If you've got the time to go into that courtroom for 20 different hearings over a stupid speeding ticket, if you've got that time, I beg you, please do it.
Oh yeah.
And you know, whether you win or lose, and whether your arguments are ridiculous or not, I don't really care. It's wrong that they're doing that in the first place, and
that's just I don't listening to the ticket.
Right. I wouldn't want people to think I don't know. I wouldn't want people to think that it's a legitimate way to win in their system, though. If there is such thing as a win in their system.
Yeah, and I guess that's in the eye of the beholder, whether even if you get out of that court without paying anything, did you really win? No, because you had to take off work. You lost money from that. You may have had to go get your car out of impound, whatever it is. You know, you lost money.
Yep.
You know, and the time that it took to be there from your family or whatever it is. So you never really win. I think we're another agreement, but it's an interesting conversation. So
yeah,
maybe someday, but I don't even see someday with that getting anywhere. It's just too big a system, and you would have to tear it down and start over again. And I mean,
yeah,
maybe that will happen someday because the people of this country get sick and tired of it and just say, we're getting our guns and you're going to change, or we're going to make you change. And hopefully we don't get there, because a lot of innocent people die and a lot of good people die, and I don't want to see that. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing what I'm doing now, is because I'm actually seeing change. I've seen departments changed. I've seen cops get fired. Is it very many? No. Is it large scale? No. But where were we just when you started? The first time you were on with me, how many more people do we have just from then?
Oh, we've got a ton more. And besides that, we've seen more cops convicted of murder than ever before, just since I've started.
Murder, rape.
Right.
Lots of
we're seeing actual convictions now. I don't think that I hate to be a pessimist, but I don't think we're really making change. I think that the guys who are really in charge are willing to throw us a few sacrifices to keep up appearances. You know what I mean?
That could be.
I think that if we start,
I'm going to be not a pessimist. I'm going to be an optimist.
I think that if we really start making change, if we really start convicting the real criminals who are pulling the strings here, they're not going to allow that to happen. But they'll throw us a few sacrifices to keep up appearances that this is a legitimate system and you guys get a fair trial. And and I think that I don't think that anybody
to start seeing judges and legislatures get
right.
The bus.
Yes, and that's what I don't necessarily think. I don't think they're going to throw us those bones. I don't think they're going to give us DAs and judges. And they might even throw us a couple legislators.
And I've seen a couple of judges, but that's been over the last 5-6 years or so. So that's not much. I mean, one or two here, one or two there is not. I mean, in those cases where it's like, oh my God, we have to get this guy because it's totally outrageous. We cannot ignore this without throwing ourselves under the bus with them. So we have to do it.
Right. You have to keep up appearances. People won't believe we're a legitimate system if we don't get these guys.
Yeah, you catch a judge or a legislature with $100,000 frozen in his freezer, packed away, and it's got drug residue on it and shit. And they've been tied to the same people where those drugs came from. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. There's probably something wrong there. That was quite a few years ago, though, but I don't even remember what case it was.
I don't think that anybody will need to overthrow the system either. I don't think that it's self-sustainable the way that it is. I don't think that it is self-sustainable, and therefore, at some point, some parts of it are going to have to shut down.
Well, I hope so, but one of the things that gives me hope is we have seen many people throughout the history of the United States judge us wrongly. They think you push us, we'll back off, and we do, and we do, and we do, and then you push us that one more time, and that's enough. We're going to stand up and we're going to go, this ain't happening anymore. And I'm kind of hoping this movement helps get us there.
Yeah,
but hopefully it's peaceful. Because
yes. I really do too. I don't think that a lot of people realize what war really means, and especially what civil war really means. It's not cops, pretty.
And these cops that are getting into our chats and saying all kinds of shit and threatening people to make us look bad, because we know that a lot of those are cops doing that shit.
Yeah,
we know, and it's not going to work, folks. Because you come into my channel and you say that kind of shit, I'm going to turn your ass in, because I don't want cops to die. I don't want innocent people to die on either side. I'm not there yet.
We just want the cops off the payroll.
Yeah.
We want them gotten rid of, just not in the way that some people like to pretend that we do.
Yeah, they like to pretend we do, and they like to show us in that light. But that's I don't know of one activist right now, and I know a bunch of them that feels that way. I do know of a few that feel like perhaps someday, if they try to come take my guns, it will come down to that.
That's,
But,
that is one of the issues that I fear is going to push people over the edge and cause some real bloodshed. And I hope that the local police realize that too. And at some point, they've got to be able to say, all right, I won't go that far.
Yeah, but we've seen them go that far. I just hope enough of them won't. But when they're faced with 100 to 1 odds, they're going to go, yeah, I'm not going that far. I'd like to go home tonight to my family, and this is wrong, and I probably am an idiot for being here in the first place, so I'm going to turn around and go the other way. But no, maybe we can avoid that. Hopefully, by what we do, and many other organizations that are not doing what we're doing, but they're fighting the system. They're trying to make changes. That in time we will make those changes, and hopefully they'll be peaceful. And hopefully they'll be more peaceful than like the Vietnam era peace movement and everything, because there was a lot of bombings and killings on both sides back then. And it was before your time, and I don't know how much time you spent on that particular part of history. A lot of people don't, but I grew up then. I remember it. It was crazy on both sides, but at least they did get the Vietnam War stopped.
Yeah.
So, which was totally ridiculous in the first place. And how many wars since World War II have been totally ridiculous? Every one of them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. Where else do we go? I don't know where else to go now. I mean, I think you've been interviewed several times, so a lot of people already know about you. But I had to hit that basic part where you got started. I mean, that you can't do an interview without that.
Yeah.
But there was something else I had that I wanted to ask you. Do you see the differences in you from when you first started till now? I do. I think you've calmed down. You've got more educated. You actually have calmed down and standing your ground better with that than you did in the beginning. Yeah.
And when I first started too, actually, I do want to tell about that. When I first started doing, I didn't try to start doing First Amendment auditing. I wanted to do activism. I like I said, I had spent years and years studying, and I'd watched lots of videos, and I had learned, somewhat how to assert myself and to assert my rights in the face of a tyrant. And I wanted to show other people how to do it. And the problem is that I didn't never have police interaction, almost never. I always flew way under the radar, and so I didn't have police interaction. If I don't have police interaction, I can't have these interactions just to record and show people how to do it and what to do. Yeah. And so when I saw people doing this First Amendment audit stuff, I said, oh, well, there's a perfect way to simply get the interaction to happen so I can show others how to assert their rights. And when I first started, I knew what to do, but certainly practice makes perfect, right?
I saw you make mistakes, which we all do. So I'm not complaining there. We all have made mistakes.
Yeah. We quote laws that don't exist. And honestly, I still do that sometimes because I know the cop doesn't know the law. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I did that in Utah recently. Be
part of the test. You tell them some kind of bullshit and they.
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing it to us for years. And I've intentionally changed a lot of the things that I've done over time, though, to, try to better educate myself so that I know what I'm doing better. But besides that, I've tried to make it intentionally entertaining for people. And the reason is because most people don't want to be educated. They want to be entertained. And if you want to teach people, you're going to have to get them to at least look. I started homeschooling my kids a couple of years ago. We pulled them out of public school because they had gotten to a point where they're just like me when I was in school. I didn't like learning anymore. Why? Because you made it effing miserable. It sucked. And that's not actually natural for a human being. I look at my baby right now, and she's constantly learning new things and excited about learning new things. You send them to a public school and they kill it. But, there's ways that people want to learn. They just don't want to be dictated to all the time. Yeah. And so,
the classes I did best in always seemed to be the ones I was most interested in, which was history, government, civics. Really, that was about it. But I did well in those classes because the teachers made it exciting for me.
Yeah.
You know, and it's always seemed to be the classes I enjoyed were the ones that had the best teachers. Now, I don't know how you make math fun, and I never did where the shit at math, so I can't really blame them. How do you make math fun? Well, maybe there's some teachers out there that can, but I never had any of them.
Yeah.
I liked reading, but I didn't like English class where I had to learn how to punctuate and all that. And I'm still not very good at that, you know, but I get by. But I'm also not although I am published in lots of articles, a good editor just tears me apart and says, go fix this, go fix that, go fix this. Well, look, God dang it, you liked it. Okay, let's fix it. Let's move on. But in fact, I've even won a couple of contests, but what the hell. But my best articles are the ones I'm having fun with. I'm going through, I'm telling the story, whatever it is, and I'm joking and having fun. And those get published. Not the serious.
Yep. Those are the videos that I put out that get views. When I go out just relaxed and, you know, just going to do my thing, have some fun, articulate myself well, and also make fun of the pigs a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm not that entertaining when I'm out there. But in the right situation, maybe I could be, but I don't feel I'm very entertaining out there. I do like to pick on them a little bit, like, you know.
Which is always entertaining.
Your feet are awful close, and what are you trying to do? You trying to make something happen here? You trying to be able to use that gun on me or something? Whatever. I don't even remember what I said in El Paso about that one that was in my face, but yeah. I still love that shot where I got the microphone stuck in his face. I mean, it's right there in his face, in his eye.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. He was so mad, but he couldn't do shit with all those cameras around. And
yeah.
They had shown him being aggressive towards me in the first place, so he just couldn't go any further. But I guess I might have been lucky that time that it didn't go further. But I actually had fun on that one. I was pissed because of what he did today, or what they did to David and how he was acting. But I was okay. Mm-hmm. You know, I was still having fun with it. So
yeah.
All right, let's see. What else can we do tonight? Oh, the video that you did, it might have been a week or two ago. I don't remember, where the guy's following you down the sidewalk and you're talking about the cops are worse than the terrorists.
Yep.
I enjoyed the hell out of that. That guy was, I don't want to call him an idiot because I don't think he was dumb. I think he's just brainwashed and laughed.
He was a DA for what, 20 or 30 years, he said.
Yeah. You know, I guess he doesn't understand the concept of looking into things and seeing what is actually going on out there. And you throw out a fact and figure and he just blows it off without even caring if it's true or not, just automatically dismissing it.
Right. And that was one of the things that I realized while I was actually out there with him. I can do the editing to add in the things that I didn't have the exact facts and figures on. But how much more effective, I don't know if it would be effective for him or not anyways. A lot of times the things that I do and say, I feel like they're effective for my audience, but not necessarily for the person I'm interacting with. Yeah. But it would be a lot more effective if I had those facts and figures memorized. They're so easy to find, and you can find them from whatever sources you want and then quote what source they're from, because, you know, somebody's going to say, oh, you found that on Wikipedia? Oh, no, this was on the FBI website. You can always find it from a source that they're going to consider reputable, whether it's, oh, they consider CNN reputable or Fox or the FBI or whoever it is. But it's good to have those off the top of your head so that you can just spit them out and because he said, oh, that's ridiculous. And I really didn't have the actual numbers.
Right. Well, the actual numbers are, depending on where you go, are going to be different.
Yeah.
But you can get the basic idea of it.
Right. You can get a rough estimate though, and I had the rough estimate of how many people had been killed by cops, but I didn't have the number of civilians killed by terrorists on American soil off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And again, that's going to be a rough number too. You'll get slightly different from place to place, but it's going to be fairly similar.
Close enough to get an idea. I mean, you put 1,000 against 10,000.
Right.
You know, it's big difference. You know.
Yep.
And I don't even remember what the numbers are, but they're totally ridiculous in this day and age.
Right. Almost 1,000 people killed by police last year in 2017, and that doesn't include how many people were shot. That's just how many were shot and killed, just under 1,000. And the number of of people killed on U.S. soil by terrorists over a 15-year period was 250, and half of those were American citizens that were the terrorists.
Well, even if you go back to 911, and you included them in there,
right?
But you included the same amount of years for the cops, it would still be
right.
So and I wonder how many of those aren't ever found out that aren't on those books.
Right.
There's probably a bunch of them.
Yeah. And that gets fun too. I get into a lot of Facebook dialogues. Well, I guess I used to before I started doing all these videos. I was on Facebook a lot in local groups. And you can really start digging into those numbers. And there's a lot of groups out there that are doing a lot more studies to get more accurate numbers on what's going on. As far as, you know, how many people were shot by the police. Okay, that's great. We've got that number. How many people were killed? How many of them were armed? How many of them were not armed? Of course, the police always find themselves, you know, that they didn't do that there was no wrongdoing. And so we need another source to say, all right, well, what are the different scenarios? And while the police said there was no wrongdoing, did public opinion disagree that shooting this guy in the back while he was running away unarmed was justified or not justified?
Well, there's one that still irks me, and that was the one that's remember the guy in the hotel that was on the floor crawling?
Oh yeah.
And I believe that actually went to court, and they were found not guilty.
Yeah, no wrongdoing. So again, that's a perfect example of one that ended up on the list where there was no wrongdoing.
How can a jury look at that and say that's okay?
Right.
I mean, if I remember right, now this might be wrong, but if I remember right, the story, he wasn't even the guy they were after. He was. Was he? Okay.
Yeah, he was. But he was an exterminator, and what he had was a pellet gun. Somebody called and said they saw a gun. Again, that was how I ended up at gunpoint on my own property. Somebody called and said they saw a gun, so the police come with guns drawn. This is America.
Yeah,
we're allowed to have guns.
For some reason, I was thinking that guy was in his room drinking and minding his own business, but they called because of somebody with a gun.
Okay.
I could have got it wrong. I mean, I have seen so many stories that part could have got wrong. But what's on video is total BS. I mean, how many different commands did they give him within that minute or two?
Right.
And how could anybody keep up with it? And because he missed one, but he's still on the ground, there's no way he was going to hurt them. He was not armed. And they unload 2 ARs on him. And then these idiots on this jury said, "Oh well, they're not guilty. That's okay."
And that pig
had to stack that damn jury.
Yeah. Well, the guy on the other end to help pick the jury wasn't there, so. Yeah, I mean, it was a sadistic game of Simon Says, where when you lose, you get pumped full of lead. I mean, it was sick.
Yeah. And those guys probably go home, I was a hero today. I got the bad guy.
Yep.
Yeah. I just unloaded on an AR on a guy at close range that didn't have a weapon. And he was on the ground.
We're going to have to find out where that guy ends up, because I'm sure he'll get hired at another police department eventually. So.
Yeah, after I found out that they found him innocent, I just kind of was so disgusted with the story, I just left it alone because it was just going to piss me off even more, I figured. So, I don't even know if I want to go back and find out. But anyway.
There's a lot of videos people send me that I just watch the beginning, and then once my wife says, stop, because I don't even realize that I'm yelling at it, I say, you know what? I don't need to watch it. I already know what's happening out there. I don't need to watch every single video of it.
Yeah.
It'll drive me crazy if I did.
Yeah, I have to pull myself back from time to time, and that's one of the reasons why I got fish tanks. It's like, okay, I've seen enough of this. I don't want to see anymore. I got to go do something else for a while, but I always come back. I mean, I've had times where I just wanted to stop, but I can't. I can't. I don't know if I'll ever be able to stop.
Yeah.
But if I win the lottery and move out to the middle of nowhere, what I like with everything I want, I don't think I could stop then. You know?
Yep. No,
I would probably go broke getting all these funding a bunch of lawsuits and shit and getting people out of jail.
Yep. Yeah. Once you really realize that how wrong what's going on around us is, you can't stop. And it is good to step back and take a breath and think and get some perspective, and make sure that you're still fighting the right fight, that you didn't become the bad guy, which I have to do all the time. And I look back at a lot of videos that I do and I go, okay, calm down a little, you know?
Yeah.
Just chill out a little. You don't want to become the bad guy.
That's what I've been saying for a long time. You know, force yourself to step away from this stuff every once in a while. Get yourself grounded again. Look at yourself, where you were, where you've been, what you've learned, and reevaluate and keep it real. You know, keep true to yourself and what's right and what's wrong. You know, don't lose.
But we can't stop doing it. It has to be done. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think I could stop. But don't anybody think that a lottery is going to come my way and do anything, because I don't play the damn thing. You got to play it to win it.
Yeah,
it's about the same odds of winning it if you don't play it. But I don't play it, so that's never going to happen. I will not be moving out to the middle of nowhere with a bunch of money. So I'm stuck here doing what I do the way I do.
Okay.
To the folks.
I think I'd like to share one thing, because I've got a lot of people that try to contact me and say, I want to start auditing. Where do I start? And a lot of people think that you should start making videos. I'd say you should start reading the Constitution.
Do some homework.
Yeah.
Read the Constitution, but don't just stop there. Read the Federalist Papers.
Yeah. And study it too.
So that you know what they meant, what they intended. Yeah. Because just reading it does not always give you their intent. And the Federalist Papers will help you get that intent.
Frederick Bastiat, The Law, that's an excellent book to read. I mean, I would say start trying to understand how this system works, why it works or why it doesn't, and what do you want? What's the goal you want to accomplish? Because if it's just to go and make an auditing video, I think that maybe we're a little bit short-sighted.
Yeah.
What's the real end goal for what are we trying to accomplish? What do you want to accomplish?
Yeah, if you're just mad because of something that happened to you or your friends or whatever, and you want to go out there and start videoing, don't just do it that way. Take James's advice and my advice. Know what you're doing, why you're doing it, understand it, and know your local laws too.
Even if they're unjust, maybe your goal is to change the local law too. So maybe your goal is to even go out and get arrested. But understand what's going to happen to you, that you're going to get arrested, you're going to end up in jail, you're going to need to post bond, whether you're going to get an attorney or you're going to be able to fight this yourself. Understand you're going to lose it in your local municipal court and you're going to have to appeal from there. I mean, if you're getting into this to try to get arrested to change a law and because you don't see any other way to do it, whatever it is that you plan to do, know what you're getting into and what you're going to do.
Yeah, and it could cost you your job. Because of all the time missed, it could cost you all kind of understand what the consequences are of what you're doing. And
don't get me wrong, too. We need people making sacrifices, but if you jump in not fully understanding what could happen to you, it might get pretty ugly.
And it will. We've seen it. We've seen some new people get jammed up pretty tight, and they weren't expecting it, I don't think. I don't think they were expecting and they understood how it was going to happen. Some of them got left out and figures got thrown out, and other ones have, lost jobs, gone broke, in pretty bad shape because of it. So
the truth is you don't have rights. So
Yeah.
You go out there and do something just because you have the right to do it. Don't think you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Just because the law says it's okay, the Constitution says it's okay, the Supreme Court says it's okay, doesn't mean they're not going to arrest you and screw you over.
Mm-hmm.
They will do it. And luckily, you'll run into one that'll back off and say, yeah, you're right. You know, maybe I don't want to push it, but good chance is they're not going to be that type of person, that they're not going to like you.
That being said, we need people too. We need more and more and more people joining the ranks. We really do.
We really do, but they need to be forewarned first too. And we try to do that quite often, is warn them what they know what you're doing before you get in there. Don't be surprised at what's going to happen to you, because, you know, bad things can happen. We had one photographer get shot, you know, so of course he wasn't, you know, I don't think he was like a First Amendment auditor. He was just a journalist, a regular journalist for some magazine or news or whatever, but I don't think he was an actual one of us type activist.
Mm-hmm.
And the cop even knew who he was. He just shot him anyway because he was such a chicken shit. He didn't bother to look to see what it was, and that it was a camera, you know, a tripod, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I like the word activist too. I mean, I know a lot of us are doing First Amendment audits, but I hope that more people will start doing activism, and not, you know, whatever it is that you want to make change in. It doesn't have to be First Amendment auditing.
No.
If you got, you know, something that you want to make change in,
it can be their local city. They want to go to down and go to the, you know, the meetings every month and talk to whoever, or go to City Hall and talk to the mayor or whoever, and make changes because something's wrong. That's an activist. You know, you don't have to make videos if you don't want to. You can just, or be out and travel around and do what we do. You know, start wherever. You know, I don't like shitting in my own backyard but I do sometimes. I've been known to come down here and do stuff in my town, and I know that there's there is a problem in this town that they believe they don't understand 3802, and but they've never done anything to me about it. You know, they've never stopped me and said, guess what? You know, we're going to make you identify. They've always just let me go. And the few times I've asked them to make changes in this city, they have. So
yeah. One of the other things I've noticed is that a lot of these cops aren't messing with folks like me and you anymore. They know who we are. They recognize us. They know we're coming. And as these newer activists start coming out, and they come out and come out with their camera, and they're not recognized, they get messed with the first time. That guy that I was just working with, Otto, that was out giving away free food, they screwed with him pretty hard in a couple of places, and he only had 200 or 300 people that had seen his videos so far. And I said, you know why they're screwing with you? Because they don't know the backing that you're about to have behind you. And when they realize how many thousands and tens of thousands of people are going to see their abuse against you, I bet you that they're going to at least slow down a little bit, if not outright stop.
Yeah.
And you know, I hope we can continue to find more people like that. We see you do something and you're standing up for yourself and you get bullied, that we can bring in the numbers and bring in the cavalry and let them know you're not going to bully any one of us. Nobody.
That's what's so great about what we're doing now, and that some of us have channels large enough to make a difference, or associated with channels that combined can make a difference. Because you don't have to have 100,000 or 60,000 or even 20,000, but you get quite a few channels of 10,000.
Yeah.
You can make a difference. And there's a bunch of the channels out here that are 10,000 or less. And even if they're just the ones that take it and run with it,
right?
You can make a police department wish they wouldn't have done what they did.
Right. And if they would, if these police departments realized, you know, when we screw up, they didn't know who this guy was, nobody to the world yesterday, but then we screwed with him, and now 10,000 people know about it. Maybe they'll think twice about screwing with anybody at that point. Maybe, just maybe.
Well, and I want there's some of this already, but a lot of y'all, they haven't seen this, is we can hide cameras.
Yeah.
We don't have to have a camera where you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's things we can do to get your attention that we're going to have those cameras. Or you're going to screw with somebody and we're going to send them back out to do the same thing with cameras on them.
Yeah.
You don't see.
And with us hiding in the background,
we've done that before too.
Yeah. Yeah. If you screw with a member of our public, we will come and we will find you and we will expose you. It doesn't matter who it is.
And it's very simple to do in this day and age. A phone calling me and I'm across the street and that phone is, I'm receiving it and I've got that phone plugged into my camera. I get that audio off that phone. I can also get the video, even if their camera's not getting the video. I'm getting the video with the audio from across the street and you'll never see it.
Yeah.
So don't think it's not there. In fact, we have videos that we haven't shown that have things that y'all haven't seen yet.
I was in San Antonio just a couple of weeks ago, and I cannot believe the amount of footage that is out there and that's backed up to multiple different places that multiple different people have that's uploaded to remote servers. And I mean, I had heard it before. When I saw some of the footage that's out there, though, I said, and you guys are smart too. A lot of you guys are really, really smart about keeping footage that people don't know about and allowing the cops to make a false police report, allowing them to
go all the way into court and then say,
right, and give testimony under oath, and then say, oh, wait a second, we just found this footage here. You just perjured yourself.
Yeah. Oh, is this this video here? Is this what you're saying? What happened? Well, I don't think that's quite the same. Let me see.
Yeah.
You didn't point the gun in her face.
Right.
Yeah, you did. You didn't. Yeah. Yeah. There it is. Y'all seen that video, but we have others.
Yep.
Thanks. You are well aware of some of what we've got.
Yep. And nobody will share it with me unless I'm there in person too. And then they're like, you know, here it is. There are others actually though, where other people have sent videos to me and said, here, store this for me for safekeeping.
Got a lot of that too.
Yeah. And so that way, you know, when your house gets raided and everything gets taken, you know, you've got your couple of people that you trust that you've sent your stuff out to. So.
Yeah, I've got, I won't mention the states, but East Coast, there's several states there. Central U.S., there's 2 states. West Coast, there's 3 states. Or near the East Coast, 3 states that I have that are backing up stuff for me and other people.
It's insane that we have to go to this extent just to preserve evidence of crimes too, because we're dealing with people who are law enforcement who are supposed to solve crimes, right? And we're going to this extent to back up evidence to make sure that they don't destroy it.
And they can come get my hard drive, my computers, and they can delete everything. They can totally destroy it if they want to, but it's not going to help them.
Right.
All it's going to do is make them look worse.
Yeah.
I can prove I had the information and where it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned that pretty early on that we had to do some extra things to. But luckily, you know, I got involved with a very good group of people that were knowledgeable. Some of us have more technical stuff than others. Others have more experience with the law. As a police officer, as a non-police officer on the other side, different forms of, well, I'm not going to go into it. There's so many of them. You have a very good understanding of the people that support us, and that we are affiliated with, and where we draw knowledge from. And you are even a recipient of some of those people.
Yep.
So it's growing, and it's only getting better, and our technology is getting better.
Yeah.
And
it's growing exponentially. We've got, I don't know if you've heard of the CA network and some of the things that BOW is doing with that. But looking into just more and more technology, more and more ways for us to back our stuff up.
Yeah. And I've got
remote
people
servers.
helping me look at backups and new technology and other ways to get the information that we have and protect that information. And yeah.
We're working on ways to, Bow more specifically is working on ways to get smaller channels noticed by putting them in a location right next to some of the bigger channels where they're going to be seen. So that, you know, you've done an amazing job of sharing new people. That's,
I mean, that's what all I've really been able to do for quite a while now. I mean, so that's what I spend my time doing. But I always, and I'll tell everybody again, if you see somebody and I haven't done anything with it, I may not have gotten to it yet, or I may have just missed them. If I've missed them, send it to me. That's where my email is, my new email. It's encrypted. It's out of the country. So it's got better protection. And it's one of the most secures out there, and that is Proton Mail. So pnpnews@protonmail.com. If you see something, say something. In this day and age. God. I still want to use that against them at the right time. When, you know, I haven't had the right time to really use that good against them. But one of these days when I get back out there, you know, it'll come up sooner or later. But all right, I think that's enough for tonight.
Cool. Cool.
We're going to end up with about an hour-long video, 45 minutes or so, depending on how much editing I do. And,
well, just make sure you cut me stuttering out, so that way I look smarter than I am.
Oh no, you look smart enough already. We got to make you look human, man.
Oh no, don't do that.
All right. Well, you know,
thanks.
I'm glad to see you come from where the first time I saw you here to where you are now. I'm proud to be affiliated with you and have been associated and worked with you. And keep up the good work. All right.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for getting me noticed right at the very beginning.
Well, I do what I can. I'm glad I could be of help in any way. I don't know how much it was, but it helped some, I'm sure.
It did. Thank you so much.
All right.